It's important to take into account people's different cultural backgrounds and expectations in creating field experiences that feel safe, inclusive, enjoyable, and productive to all. Culture can be broadly defined as the social behavior, norms, and institutions, beliefs, knowledge, customs, arts, and law characteristic in groups that share geographies or backgrounds. Culture is learned through the process of socialization, or what we soak up from our surroundings and media, and from education. Cultural norms codify acceptable conduct in society. They serve as a guideline for behavior, dress, language, and demeanor in a situation, which serves as a template for expectations in a social group, and can vary geographically. Recognizing different cultural backgrounds and making space for cultural differences can shape whether people feel comfortable or not in different field environments. Here we will discuss some cultural considerations for field teams. Some examples to keep in mind when going into the field with people of different cultural upbringings include but are not limited to dietary restrictions or preferences, religious holidays, prayer time, different boundaries or comforts around privacy for team members as well as for local community members, expectations of caregiving, and family responsibilities that may make it difficult to travel for long periods of time or be away from home. Some of these can be brought up in team meetings, through confidential surveys, or in private conversations with team members, asking what they need to be safe and comfortable in the field. It is important to recognize that we all bring our own cultural context to the fieldwork environments we engage in, regardless of our race, ethnicity, religion, or nationality. Some cultural norms are so regularly practiced in our society that we think of them as default. However, they are still learned behaviors, expectations, and norms, even if subconsciously learned, and not everyone around us shares them. Take a moment to consider what cultural aspect is considered so standard in the location where you are from, or a group that you're a part of, that the majority of the population there takes them for granted, and doesn't realize that others with different cultural backgrounds might not understand it, or possibly be surprised, excluded, or hurt by it. Some examples that our team thought of are, in rural Wisconsin, where I grew up, it is common practice for people to do a one-handed wave at one another when passing each other in the countryside, even if they don't know one another. While this cultural expectation is not exclusionary, it is often misunderstood by and not conformed to by those who aren't from the area. I frequently noted people doing a double take upon my cheerful wave their way, and then, upon looking back at their license plate, noted that they were from out of town. In Puerto Rico, where Alex is from, it is common to greet one another with a hug and at times a kiss on the cheek, especially with people who are considered friends and even acquaintances. This cultural expectation is often viewed as a general politeness, however, can be viewed as intrusive by others who have not been exposed to this before. In Kansas, where Blair lives, people will let you know that they are ready to wrap up a conversation by slapping their hands on their knees and either standing up or saying something like, "Welp," to signal that they are ready to leave. However, don't be surprised if it still takes an hour before your conversation is actually over. Blair has also observed that people who have grown up there are not afraid to start a conversation with a complete stranger. It's just considered polite. In many cultures, including Spain, where Erica grew up, it is common and expected for people to show up late to social events, and in fact, showing up early can be considered rude. It took her a while after living in the US to get used to people showing up a half hour early to a dinner party, as none of the hosts would be ready by then. Our main take-home messages related to this lens are: recognize that cultural backgrounds and norms can affect people's experiences and expectations in the field. Be aware of not stereotyping or making generalizations about people's preferences and expectations based on known cultural affinity. It's important to talk about this if it does come up. Be respectful of other people's cultural differences while prioritizing the safety of all team members. Some practical recommendations related to cultural awareness include setting expectations for behavior within your research team, including how to interact with potential collaborators, local contacts, landowners, and neighbors that provide access to field sites, and how to interact with the broader public at and en route to fieldwork in varied cultural contexts. We encourage you to refer to Module 7, where we will talk about culture in more depth. Next up, we'll be discussing Lens 5, Economic Equity or Inequity.